Okay, I hope this finds all of you healthy. Probably going a little stir crazy here at home. Um, Here are some resources that you can do to sort of get you not necessarily caught up, but at least keep the craziness at bay and still do some learning at the same time. And learning some standards that kids really need. Like these are super important for life skills, not just class, but that also support the standards from the central office. Please, as a reminder, that these are resources. These assignments will not be graded, but you will get feedback from your teacher for this. Okay. So the Crucible is the next unit that all of the English 3 teachers would have done in our classrooms. So we thought that it might be a good idea to give you some um, things that you can do to sort of be ready for that. Um, Again, it's not required. All of us will be making sure that you have the information that you need when we get back to the classroom. Okay, so The Crucible is written by Arthur Miller. And um, I love The Crucible. It's probably the favorite unit of both myself and students simply because of the complexity of it. There's so much going on that when you try to wrap your brain around it, you're like, wait a minute, that was not what I thought it was, or whoa, really? And it ties everything from the whole year together. Now, if you were in a different classroom, it may not fit as well, but it'll still fit. Okay. All right. So the focus standards, in case you want to know what you're doing, is the research standards. It's not just, hey, let's do a research, you know, just because I'm doing busy work. Research, especially now, I mean, if you think about it, is one of the most important skills that you will ever learn. Next year, you're going to have a big research paper, and you're going to need to know these skills. But one of the things that I have found that kids struggle with is they type in to the internet keywords, and then they choose the first website that comes up. And that's not research. That's taking information from a web page, copying and pasting it, and put it in something and turning it in. Research, and this is what these 3 standards are addressing, and this is what is important for you to know. It's looking up information and deciding, is this information good? Okay, is it relevant? Because sometimes, you'll copy and paste things that have nothing to do with the topic at hand. I mean, yeah, it's good information to have, but it's not answering the specific topic. It's called focusing your answer. It's almost like you're rambling if we were in class doing an essay. And you want to avoid that. It'll help you next year. It also will help you when you go get a job. Okay, you're going to have employers that go, hey, I need you to go find this information for me. And they're not going to want this extra information. You're going to have to know how to filter it down. It'll also help you if you're going to college. You'll have papers in every single class that you go to. And if you don't know how to research, you're going to be at a disadvantage. Now, again, you're going to get taught this numerous times because it's an important skill, but this is a good time to practice those skills so that you can get even better. All right. And when we go back into the classroom, at least for Miss Smith's class, I'm not sure about the other teachers, we will use these so it's not a waste of time if you're sitting at home doing these optional assignments. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to make some type of presentation. It doesn't matter if it's just handwritten on a piece of paper and you take a picture. If you want feedback, obviously, if you do this, you probably want some feedback. But you can handwrite it on a piece of paper. Now, I know it says PowerPoint, but that's because originally this was what we were doing in class, and I just didn't retype the instructions. But you can just write the answer. You can just write the information on a piece of paper. Take a picture, send it in through email. But and that's fine. But there's another skill that you could learn as well that would be more beneficial for you, and it would be great, especially right now in this chaotic time. Be creative with it. Okay, get the research and make some type of presentation. You can make a PowerPoint, which was the original one, and that's fine too. Or you can even do, you have access to so many different programs that, I don't know about since I'm old, but that you guys use to make videos. You could, and get help from everyone in your house who's going stir crazy and go, hey, you be Arthur Miller, let me interview you. Or, hey, let's dress up, and people in your house, because, we're doing the social distance thing. Get them to dress up and play parts, or do something interesting, creative. It's completely up to you. The aspects or the standards that would bring in would obviously be your presentation standards. You could record that and upload them. I don't really want to do Dojo 1 because this is for all English 3, and the other classes don't have that. And so many kids, they get new phones, they can't log in until they come to me. So instead, we'll just, I'll set up you can either email them to your teacher, or I'll check with technology to find if there's an easy way to upload them. I'm pretty sure there is, but I need to look into it before I do that. You will see a link on this webpage that says, hey, upload your assignment here. So it's no big deal. There'll be instructions for you to follow. But be creative with it. Okay, that would get everybody smiling on days like this. All right, so what information do I need, or do you need? We want to know about Arthur Miller, and I don't mean just his name and where he was born. We do need that. This is one of those plays where his family background and things that he went through influenced everything that he wrote, the themes. And if you don't know that, then it makes the themes harder. So you do want to, this is your research standard, go through and look carefully, read the webpage and go, okay, he's writing a play about, on the surface, it's witch trials, but deep down it's about prejudice and judgment. And what about his life would make him focus? Because all of his plays were like that. All of his writing dealt with in some way loss and pain. What would cause that? Some literary devices. Now, these are split up this way because originally they were going to be, different groups. And so group 1 would have had these literary devices. And you'll notice that on each one of these, there's literary devices. You can do all the literary devices together at the end. I will actually explain the literary devices after I go through and do the historical part first. After you do Arthur Miller, go into the Red Scare. What is it? Okay. And you would be surprised about what you realize about the basics of communism. Because one of the, we have an election coming up for next year. And I was watching the news, and, you've got some people arguing about the pros and cons of using some of this. I'm not giving you an opinion either way. I'm just telling you what I saw in the news. So learn the facts. What is this? Why are people arguing over it? How is it applicable today? And, we can talk about that in a class discussion type way. Are there pros to communism? Is it all negative? And ask yourself, why would anybody find this positive? It's completely up to you as you form your opinion, and that's the research standard. Form an opinion about it. his background, beliefs, and actions. Actions being especially important here. What did he do? Why is it his actions are so important in terms of what he wrote? Then I want you to switch to the Puritan religion. And I know that this may seem like you're like, what? The Puritan religion was 1700s. Why are we flipping to that when you just asked me to research the Red Scare, which is 1940s, 60s, 1940s through 60s, actually kind of 50, but what's the relationship? Well, I could tell you, and I will if you struggle, but it kind of defeats the purpose of you doing those research standards. But there is a relationship, a very close relationship, that I want you to think about as you're researching. That's one of those questions that you want to keep in mind when you're doing your presentation. What's the difference between these? Salem witch trials. Look at the actual history of that. I would prefer that you you can look at who was arrested, like specific names, but if you do that, you're going to kind of get some spoilers on like the play. Not all of them, because Arthur Miller did not do everything historically correct, but you do need the actual facts. Okay, so in-depth analysis of McCarthyism, who was accused, consequences of being accused by McCarthy, consequences being essential. Okay, this is a cause-effect skill that you really need to practice on. Okay, and this is going in a specific order. There is a reason I put this after the Salem witch trials, and as you're researching that, you may kind of see what that is. What happened as a result of McCarthy being arrested, and examples in the world today. Okay, this is super important. Result of being arrested kind of ties to this. Okay, the key part with this number 7, is where you see it today. Okay, where the news media has compared events to a witch trial. Research writing techniques in American drama. Okay, one of the things that I've noticed that kids in the past is they type in writing techniques in American drama or how Arthur Miller used them. You're not going to find that. That doesn't exist, because this part is an opinion. Okay, so instead, what you're going to do is you're going to do what techniques do American dramatists use. It's going to give you some things. Then you're going to use all this information about McCarthy's background, okay, and things that you learned with the Puritan religion and the Salem witch trials, and you're going to discuss, based on what you've researched, how you think he used them. Okay, you think. Is it possible that you get some of it wrong? Well, yes. But that's how you learn, is as you go through the unit and you get further along, this is going to click and you're going to go, I thought that, but it's really this. You're not getting it wrong, you're learning. Okay. And this one is super, super important. Aristotle's tragic hero requirements. Okay. And on this one, don't just copy and paste those requirements, because he uses a lot of Greek words. You don't want that. You want to figure out, truly understand what the tragic hero requirements are. Okay. All right, so after you do that, then you're going to want some literary devices. If you've had me as a teacher, you know that I do the notes the same way. I give the history first, and then I do the literary devices. So I don't care how you do it. But you do need to go back into depth on devices. Most of these we have studied already. It's review. But it's review of devices that are really important, that'll help you with a lot of things this year and next year. Symbol. archetypes, setting, and theme. And I don't want just definitions. Be creative. Find some clips, find pictures, go around your house and, take a picture of something and go, hey, this is a symbol of, whatever. Or this is the setting of my house as I'm quarantined. The theme of our life right now. Give examples. Okay. Illusions with an A, allegory, satire. Theme is on here twice because both groups were going to do it because it's so important. You would only, of course, need to do it once. I kind of wrote on this one, so it's kind of hard to see the spelling. ANTHROPOMORPHISM. That's pronunciation. Anthropomorphism. Okay. Versus personification, so it's going to be related. Okay, we've got theme again. Antithesis, paradox, and irony. Characterization, motivation. You need to include how does a reader find these elements? Because that's one of the things, you don't just look up definitions. The whole point is how do you use them? Diction, denotation versus connotation. Motif and understatement. Conflict, foil, juxtaposition. Foreshadowing, imagery, mood, and tone. And then when you do Aristotle's requirements, make sure you focus on hubris and point of view. Okay, and not just one point of view. I want you to look at all of them. Okay. I will attach this page as a document as well below this instructional video so that you can kind of to pull that out as well. Okay. All right. I hope all of you stay safe and have fun with this.